Welcome to my anime recap. Like and subscribe for more. The story begins with a quiet and mysterious moment. A young girl remembers a strange and vivid dream. In this dream, she attends a Japanese school, even though she has never stepped inside such a place in her real life. The dream shows her living a normal school life, surrounded by many friendly classmates. Among them, one person feels especially close to her. It all feels peaceful and warm, but suddenly, the dream ends. Everything vanishes in an instant. The next scene shows the same girl again, but this time, she has just killed someone. Blood is on her hands, and her face is serious. This marks the true beginning of the story. Not long after, a plain-looking virgin boy named Mitsuki Mutu finds himself standing inside a glowing magic circle. One second, he's in his usual world, and the next, he is somewhere completely different. The room around him is grand and unfamiliar. He sees several people dressed in robes looking at him with curious eyes. Mitsuki feels shocked and confused, unable to understand what just happened. Slowly, he realizes the truth. He has been transported to another world. Excitement quickly fills him as he believes his dull and boring life is finally over. He mentally introduces himself as a 17-year-old high school with a small banana and starts to imagine what lies ahead. One of the robed women starts to speak, ready to explain his situation. But before she says much, the king, sitting on a throne, suddenly gives an unexpected order. Without warning, the king commands the guards to throw Mitsuki out of the palace. The soldiers follow the command immediately, dragging the boy outside. The palace gate slams shut behind him. Mitsuki sits alone under a nearby bridge. He feels shocked and hurt. He doesn't understand why he was treated so harshly. With no money and no food, he starts to complain about his situation. All he wants now is a few coins to grope some melons. His excitement about the new world quickly fades into frustration. Just then, a girl notices him from a distance. It is the same girl seen earlier in the story. She walks up to Mitsuki and gently calls out to him. She introduces herself as Menu, a priestess who works for the church. Menu explains that people like him are called Lost Ones, individuals who are summoned from another world. She offers to help him understand the strange new place. Mitsuki asks for some money, but Menu refuses. Instead, she offers him a place to stay. However, she makes it clear that he must offer his body if he wants to eat. She believes in fairness and tells him that people who don't contribute shouldn't expect to be rewarded. Mitsuki agrees to follow her. Together, they walk toward a nearby village. On the way, Mitsuki starts to dream again. He wonders if this world has monsters, magic, or even the chance to become a hero. But Menu tells him that such ideas are just fairy tales in this land. As they walk, Menu suddenly asks if he likes mayonnaise. The question catches Mitsuki off guard. He realizes that she knows what mayonnaise is, a very common item in Japan. Menu then explains that many lost ones before him also came from Japan. That surprises Mitsuki, and he soon understands that they have been speaking Japanese the entire time. Menu then asks about his summoning. Mitsuki tells her everything he remembers, from the glowing circle to being thrown out of the castle. Menu listens closely. She tells him that summoning lost ones is actually illegal in their country. Only nobles secretly perform such acts, and they often do so for sexual acts. She begins to explain how society in this world works. At the lowest level are regular people, above them are nobles, then knights, and at the very top are the royals. However, one group stands even higher than royalty, the clergy. The church holds great power. Their job is to keep peace, maintain law and order, and punish those who break the rules. Menu herself is one of these powerful agents. Mitsuki tries to joke and lighten the mood, but Menu remains serious. She warns him not to underestimate her. Still, she agrees to guide him. As they laugh together for a brief moment, Mitsuki starts to feel safe. He accepts that he may not be powerful in this world, but at least he has someone on his side. He then recalls how a woman examined him when he first arrived and told him he had a small banana and no magical abilities. However, she mentioned that another person, summoned alongside him, held great potential. Mitsuki briefly saw this other person's face, but the memory is fuzzy. Menu decides to take him to a church facility for deeper testing. She believes he might still have hidden powers, maybe a second banana. As the sun begins to set, they reach the church. She leads him into a small room. Mitsuki doubts himself, unsure if he has any magic, but Menu insists that every lost one has power, even if it's hidden deep inside. She tells him that they lack money right now, but if his power awakens, they can find ways to survive together. Mitsuki becomes a little suspicious of her motives, but before he can react, Menu suddenly activates a magic ritual. The room glows, and a powerful force awakens inside Mitsuki. An enormous wave of energy bursts out from his body, and everything in front of him disappears. Minu is stunned. Mitsuki's power is extremely dangerous. He can erase matter itself. Without hesitating, she pulls out a holy relic and chants a sacred spell. The spell instantly kills Mitsuki. His body shines brightly for a moment before vanishing. The structure around them collapses from the energy. Minu looks down at where his body lay and speaks quietly. She says that even though Mitsuki did nothing wrong, Isekai'd are too dangerous for the world. She cannot allow such power to exist. This is her duty, to execute all lost ones before they lose control and cause disaster. With a heavy heart, she walks away from the ruins. Later, Minu reports back to a high-ranking church official named Archbishop Orwell. Orwell tells her that the king summoned 2 lost ones. No one knows why. Minu promises to find and eliminate the second person as well. Orwell advises her to rest and mentions that it has been 10 years since she returned from a major mission. After she leaves, Minu begins to remember her past. A flashback shows a terrible event from 10 years ago. A lost one, just like Mitsuki, accidentally destroyed an entire village. The person had no evil intentions, only the desire to go back to Japan, but the power they carried was too destructive. A powerful priestess named Flare appeared and stopped the lost one. A young Minu saw this event happen with her own eyes. Flare told her she would become her disciple. That moment changed Minu's life forever. She accepted the path of an executioner, carrying out harsh duties for the greater good. Back in the present, Minu reunites with her flat-chested loyal assistant Momo. Momo is very affectionate and gives Minu a new outfit as a gift. Minu feels embarrassed, but accepts it. Suddenly, Momo warns her that their presence might have been discovered. She was investigating the second lost one and may have attracted attention. Minu wastes no time. She rushes outside and finds the area surrounded by soldiers. Calm and composed, she defeats them all by herself. After the battle, she speaks with determination. The next lost one is still young and innocent, but that does not make them safe. Their power, like Mitsuki's, could one day bring destruction. In a quiet scene, flowers are placed near the ruins where Mitsuki once stood, a silent farewell to his short and tragic journey. Meanwhile, in another part of the land, the second lost one appears. This person stands quietly in the open, enjoying the wind. They are unaware of the fate that might await them. At the same time, Minu begins her journey to find this person. The scene ends as their paths finally cross. The 2 lock eyes for the first time, one full of hope, the other carrying a deadly mission. Minu stands face to face with a mysterious girl with a nice rack. The 2 look at each other in complete silence, both surprised by the sudden meeting. After a moment of stillness, the girl calmly introduces herself as Akari. Minu listens carefully and quickly senses something unusual. Based on her appearance and behavior, Minu suspects that Akari is also a lost one, someone who has been summoned into this world from Japan. Akari quietly confirms that she too has been summoned, and Minu's suspicion becomes reality. They begin talking more openly now. Minu asks about Akari's arrival, and Akari explains that the king of this land is the one who brought her here. Minu gently warns her that another lost one had appeared earlier and was eliminated after being granted powers. She claims that this world is dangerous for people like Akari, and without careful steps, Akari could face the same fate. This warning makes Akari a little concerned, but she feels safe with Minu and agrees to go with her. Minu feels surprised by how easily Akari trusts her, but she does not show her inner thoughts. As they move forward, Minu keeps her emotions hidden. She quietly thinks about how convenient it is that Akari agrees to everything without hesitation. Minu finds it strange that the king summoned another lost one when this one does not even seem to have strong magic. Compared to the earlier lost one, Akari feels much weaker, almost as if she holds no special power. Still, Minu does not forget her mission. She believes Akari must be eliminated just like Mitsuki. While traveling, Minu picks up her pace and moves ahead of Akari. She silently prepares for the moment when she will carry out her task. Akari runs to catch up but quickly loses sight of Minu. Then, she finds her standing high atop a pillar. In a sudden motion, Minu jumps down and attacks Akari with the intention to kill her. Akari falls to the ground, wounded and stunned. Her body becomes weak and it looks like that she will not survive. But just then, something unexpected happens. A magical glow appears around Akari's body. In mere seconds, her injuries heal completely. She stands up again, without any signs of pain. Akari walks toward Minu as if nothing happened. She speaks kindly, saying she was searching for Minu. Minu is left speechless, confused at how Akari survives the attack. Still, she hides her shock and tells Akari that they must keep moving. Together, they continue their journey. As they escape from the town, Minu secretly contacts her assistant Momo using the iPhone 25. She reports what just happened. Akari cannot be killed. Her power seems to be related to healing or time reversal. Minu says they must bring her along and keep her under watch. Momo is told to create a distraction so they can escape more easily. Momo does as instructed, drawing the attention of the knights and palace guards. While everyone runs after Momo, Minu and Akari quietly disappear from the scene. Later, Minu contacts Archbishop Orwell. She shares her concerns about Akari's invincibility. She wants to know what can be done about someone who cannot die. The old lady responds with a vague answer. She says that some lost ones are impossible to eliminate and Akari might be one of them. Minu grows frustrated and asks for guidance. Orwell suggests keeping Akari close and waiting for further instructions if things go out of control. The next day begins calmly. Akari wakes up in a small room, lying comfortably on a soft bed. Minu gently wakes her up and they share breakfast together. As they eat, Akari opens up a little more. She says she is from Tokyo, Japan. Minu confirms that most lost ones are summoned from Japan, which explains why they all speak the same language and share the same customs. Akari grows emotional and admits she misses her old world. Even though everything here is strange, a part of her heart longs for home. Then, Akari looks directly at Minu and asks if they can become friends. Minu hesitates. Her duty is to kill lost ones, not build friendships. But when she sees the sincerity in Akari's eyes, she nods and agrees. For a moment, Minu forgets the mission and allows herself to feel human. They continue talking and walking together. The bond between them slowly grows, and even their conversations become more casual and relaxed. From afar, Momo watches the two with a troubled expression. She listens to their growing friendship and feels a sense of discomfort rising inside her. Later, Momo meets Minu in secret. She updates her that the king who summoned Akari is now captured and locked inside a church facility. Momo also expresses her concern. She reminds Minu that Akari is dangerous. Even if she seems innocent now, her powers could one day bring disaster. Minu answers calmly, saying that since Akari cannot be killed, the best thing they can do is to keep her distracted and harmless. Until now, Akari has not shown any signs of violence. Before leaving, Momo gives Minu 3 train tickets for a trip they planned. Minu is confused. Only she and Akari were supposed to go. Momo casually says she is joining them too. Minu realizes that her presence might cause trouble. Still, Momo insists she will stay in the background and not interfere. Afterward, Minu quietly watches Momo. A memory plays in her mind. She recalls their childhood, when Momo helped tie her hair with ribbons. This simple memory stays in her thoughts. On the other side, Momo also looks at her with a warm but worried gaze. It's clear that their connection runs deeper than words. Later, Minu visits the church where the imprisoned king is kept. Inside the silent hall, she meets Akari again. Akari welcomes her with a smile. As Minu looks at her face, she is reminded of a familiar figure from the past, the same friend shown in the mysterious dream at the start of the story. Akari's expression stirs something inside Minu. She feels uneasy, like a memory is trying to return. Akari notices Minu's distant gaze and asks if something is wrong. Minu dismisses it with a soft smile and says she's just thinking. Soon they head out for their trip. They walk through the streets, observing the market and enjoying the peaceful atmosphere. Minu reminds Akari not to use any magic in public, and Akari agrees. After some time, Minu leaves to buy supplies. Akari stays nearby and explores the area. Suddenly, a young girl named Millie trips and falls in front of her. Akari quickly rushes to help. Just as this happens, Minu spots 2 suspicious noblemen watching the market. Then she sees Akari using magic to help the girl. This is dangerous. It could attract unwanted attention. To cover up the scene, Minu casts a harmless bubble spell that entertains the crowd. Everyone's attention turns toward the shiny bubbles. Using this chance, Minu walks over to Akari and quietly scolds her. Akari nods and promises to be more careful. Just then, Millie returns and thanks them for their help. Together, they walk the girl to her mother, keeping the mood calm and quiet. Later, Akari and Minu continue talking casually. Momo watches them again from a hidden spot. Her face is filled with emotion, frustration, worry, and perhaps jealousy. At the same time, far away in a different place, another scene unfolds. A mysterious girl steps into view. She looks calm, yet powerful. 2 guards walk behind her and ask what their next move should be. The girl answers with confidence. She tells them to leave the rest to her. The next scene begins with a peaceful moment inside a moving train. Minu and Akari sit together quietly in one of the passenger cars. The scenery rushes by through the windows as the train rolls down the tracks. There is a calm atmosphere, though both girls remain alert. At the same time, a young woman with firm melons enters the scene. This is Ashuna Grisarika. She appears thoughtful and slightly troubled. quietly wondering where the second lost one might be, the one her father mentioned earlier. She looks around, thinking about what to do next. Suddenly, a gang of thugs steps into the train car and walks toward Ashuna. They quickly surround her. One of the men confirms her identity in a bold voice. The princess does not deny it. She looks at them with cold eyes. The thugs then start harassing the other passengers. They demand money, valuables, and anything worth stealing. Fear spreads among the travelers. One of the thugs targets Manu and Akari. Manu calmly explains that they have nothing valuable with them, but the thug does not back off. Instead, he tells them to remove their expensive clothes. Akari, visibly angry, begins to unbutton her shirt in protest, but Manu quickly stops her and scolds her for acting recklessly. She steps forward, facing the thug herself. In a swift and smooth movement, she attacks the thugs. With her skilled combat techniques, she easily knocks them out. The passengers begin to cheer and regain their courage. Manu tells everyone not to worry and assures them they are safe. She then turns to Akari and warns her again not to act without thinking. Akari nods and promises to be more careful. Manu decides to inspect the train and tells Akari to stay behind. Akari looks worried and asks what will happen if more thugs appear. Manu reassures her, then calmly walks away toward the next car. Meanwhile, Momo appears elsewhere on the train. She has captured one of the thugs and begins interrogating him. The thug refuses to speak, but Momo is persistent. She pulls out a small weapon and starts hitting him, demanding to know who sent him. The scene shifts again as Manu approaches the driver's cabin. Before she can enter, she hears Momo's voice calling her from nearby. Momo quickly updates her that the area is secure and advises her to continue heading toward the engine room. Manu gives a nod and moves forward. On the way, Millie stops Manu. The young girl looks nervous and asks Manu to be careful. Manu smiles softly and tells her to stay safe too. She continues toward the engine. Meanwhile, Momo moves up onto the train's roof. She senses someone powerful nearby. Soon, she comes face to face with Princess Ashuna. Momo immediately recognizes her. Ashuna smiles confidently, pleased to be recognized. The two women start fighting fiercely on top of the train. Their swords clash, and powerful spells fill the air. Sparks fly with every strike. Momo watches Ashuna's fighting style carefully. She quickly realizes that Ashuna is no ordinary opponent. Ashuna's strength and skill are impressive. Far below, Manu hears the sounds of battle coming from above. She guesses that this fight will take a while and focuses on her own mission. Momo dodges a fire-based attack from Ashuna. She retaliates with her own magic, but Ashuna blocks it smoothly. Then Ashuna decides it's time to stop holding back. Her expression changes, showing that she is ready to fight seriously now. Manu finally arrives at the driver's cabin. She opens the door and asks the driver to stop the train. The driver looks at her in panic and explains that the thugs have already taken over. He says the controls are out of their hands. Not far from them, one of the thugs listens in on their conversation. He laughs loudly and mocks their plan. Suddenly, a strange thing happens. A small red candy-like creature appears from inside the thug's body. It begins to glow brightly and merges with other small red creatures. These creatures combine into a large, glowing ball. In just a few moments, the glowing ball transforms into a giant mechanical robot. The robot starts attacking everything around it. Manu quickly confronts the mechanical enemy and begins fighting it. Her initial attacks do not seem to hurt the machine. The robot's armor is strong and resists her strikes. It counters with powerful punches and blasts of energy. Manu struggles to keep up as the robot begins overpowering her. She realizes this battle will be much harder than expected. Up on the roof, the battle between Momo and Ashuna grows even more intense. Suddenly, several flying bush-like creatures appear and try to interfere. Ashuna, however, burns them away with her fire magic. Momo sees an opening and kicks Ashuna hard from behind, but Ashuna reacts quickly and grabs Momo's leg, pulling her down with surprising strength. Back inside the train, Manu is still locked in battle with the robot. The robot delivers another strong blow. Just in time, Momo fires a magical bullet from above. It hits the robot, giving Manu a brief chance to recover. She glances up and silently thanks Momo for the help. However, Momo is immediately challenged again. Ashuna reappears, ready for more. Suddenly, the robot's wild attack hits the engine room. Manu watches in horror as sparks fly and the situation grows more dangerous. She regains her focus and hits back, managing to push the robot away. Just then, Akari arrives. She runs up to Manu, worried about her. Manu is shocked to see her. She quickly throws the robot away and rushes to Akari, asking if she is hurt. Akari looks at Manu with admiration. Manu scolds her gently, telling her again not to come alone. But their moment of calm doesn't last. The robot gets back up. Manu knows she must end the fight now. She prepares a powerful spell and channels her red, blood-like energy into the robot's body. The energy spreads inside the machine. Slowly, the robot begins to melt from within. Manu leaps onto the machine's remains to finish it. Akari calls out and says it's over, asking her to stop. The passengers, once terrified, begin to relax. Manu turns to Akari and says that whoever is behind all this must be stopped. She asks for Akari's help. Akari agrees. The two girls head toward the train's rooftop together. Akari hesitates, frightened by the height and the strong wind. She says she's never done anything like this before. Manu takes her hand and reassures her. With Akari's hand in hers, Manu begins casting another spell. The magic flows through both of them and connects to her magic book. A protective barrier begins forming in front of the train. Manu tightens her grip as the shield grows stronger. Another train approaches rapidly from the opposite direction. The danger is real and close, but Manu's barrier holds. Their train comes to a stop just in time. Akari breathes a sigh of relief. She turns to Manu and says they did it. Elsewhere, Ashuna tries to resume her fight with Momo, but Momo, tired and annoyed, has lost interest. The next morning arrives. The situation is calm and everything is peaceful once more. Akari is with Millie and chats with her happily. Manu watches them from a distance. She silently reflects on what could have happened. Her thoughts drift to a horrible scene. If they had failed, the train would have crashed and burned. All the passengers would have died. Akari would have died too. These dark images trouble her deeply. She closes her eyes, takes a deep breath, and tries to calm herself. The story continues as Manu speaks to Momo and shares everything that has happened so far. Momo listens with full attention, her expression filled with concern. She gently tells Manu that she might be overthinking things too much, but Manu insists that they must not underestimate Akari. She explains to Momo that Akari is one of the lost ones, and because of that, she holds a special power that is both rare and dangerous. Manu tells Momo that Akari possesses an ability to rewind time. This power allows her to return to a past moment, which also means she can heal herself by undoing any damage. Momo seems uncertain and says she doesn't believe someone like Akari could truly be a threat. However, after hearing Manu's serious tone, she agrees that keeping a close eye on her is the safest option. Their conversation soon comes to an end, and Momo, feeling sleepy, says she's going to rest. She walks toward another room and leaves Manu behind in thought. The scene shifts to a different place in the past. It is a flashback, showing a younger Manu standing next to Flare. The old lady is also present there and speaks to Flare. She tells Flare that from now on, she will be the one to guide this child. The old woman then turns around and walks away, leaving Flare and Manu alone. Manu stares at Flare curiously and asks who she is. Flare introduces herself as a priestess. Without any delay, she moves closer and touches Manu to examine her powers. She senses Manu's potential, but says she does not wish to become her teacher. Flare then takes out some money and tosses it toward Manu before starting to walk away. Manu, however, does not pick up the money. Instead, she follows Flare without saying a word. Flare stops, turns around, and says that if Manu truly wants to learn from her, then she must come along. Manu agrees right away and begins her journey alongside her. What follows is a fast montage. Flare is shown defeating various lost ones. One by one, they fall before her skilled hands. In one scene, a lost one is defeated while Flare stands still, holding a blood-covered knife. Manu watches closely and realizes what Flare has just done. Flare then takes Manu with her to a quiet spot. At this new location, Flare begins explaining the world structure. She says that this world is made of layers, all connected to one another. She explains that lost ones disrupt this structure and that their presence can bring great danger. Flare says eliminating them is sometimes necessary, though killing isn't always the first answer. Manu responds with determination and says she wants to walk the same path as Flare. Flare warns her that the path is difficult and filled with pain. Manu replies that she is prepared for anything. Hearing her resolve, Flare smiles and says that from this day on, Manu will be her student. Manu looks surprised. Flare chuckles and asks why she is making that face, then walks away. The flashback moves to an academy where Manu is now a student. She sits in a class with many others as a teacher gives a lesson. The teacher explains how most lost ones come from Japan. She tells the class about their special powers and how their arrival affects this world. She says that summoning them is strictly illegal and against all laws. The teacher then announces a practical session. The students are taken to a large open area for training. Each student is given a knife and told to stab practice dummies. Flare appears suddenly and gives them a grim order. She tells them to imagine that their enemies have killed their families. With that thought in mind, she asks them to attack without hesitation. Manu becomes furious and stabs the dummy with full force. Flare observes this and quietly says that now they are ready to kill. Her words shock the other students. Later, a girl is shown crying in a corner. Manu notices her and gently walks up to her. She asks why she is crying. The girl replies that she doesn't want to kill people. Her eyes are filled with tears. Manu later meets Flare again and tells her everything. She says even after witnessing all this, she still wants to walk by her side. Flare smiles and says students like Manu are truly rare. Manu then tells her that she wishes to become just like her, no matter what it takes. Flare welcomes the challenge but warns that Manu will have to complete many missions. She must also be prepared to make difficult decisions, even if it means turning on her own friends someday. Flare reminds her to never choose the wrong path during such moments. After this, Flare and Manu share a quiet meal together. Once finished, Flare takes Manu away again. The flashback slowly fades and the story returns to the present day. Now, Manu and Akari are seen together. Manu sits silently, deep in thought. She wonders if she should stay focused on her mission or protect Akari as a friend. At that moment, Akari wakes up and cheerfully greets her. Manu watches her and quietly promises to protect her no matter what. Later, both of them walk toward a nearby castle. Akari says she wants to explore it. They go inside and Akari looks around excitedly. She asks Manu to show her every part of the place. Manu smiles and agrees. Suddenly, the old lady appears once more. She walks up to Manu and begins talking to her. She then asks if Akari is a lost one. Akari politely greets the woman, but the old lady replies with a sarcastic comment about Akari's big chest. Her words are awkward, and both girls look surprised. The old lady then offers Manu a new job. Before Manu can respond, another girl arrives. She gives Manu an envelope and tells her that she has been assigned a mission. Manu opens the envelope and reads its contents. At that moment, Akari suddenly knocks on the door. Manu opens it and asks if something happened. Akari says nothing at first. She walks to the balcony and looks up at the sky. Manu follows and asks again what's wrong. Akari says that Manu broke her promise. She was supposed to show her around the castle but didn't. Manu apologizes and explains that a mission came up suddenly. Akari turns away and walks off. That night, Manu lies awake in bed, unable to sleep. Her mind remains unsettled. Meanwhile, Akari is shown taking a bath. She thinks about their earlier argument and feels guilty. She realizes she was too harsh and decides to let Manu focus on her mission. Later, Momo meets with Manu. Manu gives her the mission instead. Momo seems confused and asks what Manu is planning. Manu explains that she wants to take some time to relax. Momo feels a little jealous and says she will complete the task. Manu apologizes and says it's her fault that Momo always ends up doing the hard work. Momo smiles and walks away without complaint. Back in their room, Manu returns just as Akari steps out of the bathroom, wrapped in a towel. Akari apologizes for being rude earlier. She says she regrets the way she spoke. Manu forgives her and says fights are normal between friends. They hug each other to make up. Suddenly, Akari's towel slips off, showing her nice mangoes. Manu quickly points it out. Akari screams in shock, and the moment becomes awkward. In the final scene, the old lady is shown thinking deeply. The next morning starts peacefully. Manu and Akari walk together through a new and unfamiliar place. The atmosphere feels light and cheerful as they explore their surroundings with calm curiosity. Along the way, they come across a large public fountain that features a statue in a funny pose. Akari instantly mimics the statue's pose, making Manu laugh out loud. The two continue walking through the town, exploring stalls, shops, and interesting streets. They buy ice cream and enjoy eating it while walking side by side. As night falls, they find a quiet place to sit and talk. Akari becomes playful and tries to convince Manu to play a strange game. Manu listens, but finds it weird. She asks what kind of game it is, but before Akari can explain more, Manu throws a pillow at her face in a playful yet firm way. She tells her to back off and walks away, ending the conversation. Later that evening, Manu opens her magic book and uses it to contact Momo. Momo, on the other side, is hiding in a quiet corner near a sewer pipe. She answers the call, and Manu tells her about Akari's strange game. Momo laughs after hearing it, imagining the awkward moment. Then the conversation turns serious as they begin discussing their mission. Manu asks for an update. Momo says she is now near the royal capital, hiding underground. Manu becomes a bit nervous after hearing this, but Momo assures her that everything is under control. Manu looks at her ribbon silently, her thoughts filled with concern. The next day arrives. Manu and Akari walk through a crowded market. Akari pauses at a jewelry stall and looks at some necklaces. Manu notices a ribbon and decides to buy it. Akari watches her with interest and asks why she's buying a ribbon when she already has one. Manu smiles and replies that it's not for her, it's for Momo. Akari seems touched by the gesture and smiles. Minu ties the ribbon around her hair and gives it to her. Akari thanks her, and Minu says it's not a big deal. Soon after that, the two girls meet the old lady, Orwell. She speaks to Minu and says the time has come to send Akari, the lost one, back to her own world. Orwell wants to know about the mission. Minu answers calmly, telling her that she chose not to do it herself. Instead, she passed the task to Momo. Meanwhile, Momo is seen walking cautiously through a narrow, dark path. The place looks eerie and unsafe. As she proceeds, someone suddenly steps out from the shadows. It is the princess, Ashuna. She greets Momo with a cheerful smile and says it's been a long time since they met. Momo doesn't look pleased. Ashuna continues to speak casually and says she came here to see her. She admits that after their last fight, she started to develop a liking for Momo. Momo is clearly uncomfortable with this meeting. The two start walking together. Ashuna tries to touch the ribbon tied in Momo's hair, but Momo quickly stops her and asks what she is doing. Ashuna playfully asks if the ribbon is a gift from someone special. Momo remembers the moment from her childhood when Minu gave her that ribbon. It means a lot to her, and she has treasured it for years. She answers coldly, saying it's none of her business. They both continue walking. Back at the temple, Minu, Akari, and Orwell arrive at a sacred and quiet place. The air feels heavy. Minu glances around and comments that the place feels unusual. Orwell instructs her to sit. Akari walks up to Minu and hugs her tightly, saying goodbye. Minu softly replies that she should live happily in her own world. They part ways. Elsewhere, Momo and Ashuna arrive at a hidden underground location. The camera returns to the temple. Akari walks away, waving goodbye to Minu. Minu watches her leave, feeling a deep sadness. Orwell notices this and says that farewells are always painful. Minu remains silent, her heart heavy with doubt. Back with Momo, she takes out a device and begins taking pictures of the hidden location. Ashuna looks around and says the place looks familiar. She reveals it is a place where lost ones are supposedly honored. Momo questions that claim. Ashuna adds that nobles are given second-class status, while the church receives the highest honor. Then she reveals something shocking. The head of the church is actually a lost one. Momo is stunned. Ashuna begins to tell an old, disturbing story. Long ago, a lost one murdered an entire family while a young child watched. That lost one was none other than Orwell. Hearing this, Momo's expression changes. Ashuna then warns her that she might lose her connection to the magic book. Momo quickly tries to reach Minu using the book, but the connection fails. Ashuna says she already warned her this could happen. Suddenly, Ashuna senses danger and prepares to attack. Momo admits she can no longer hear Minu's voice through the book. Back at the temple, Orwell begins to speak to Minu and reveals dark secrets. She tells her the truth about how her master Flare died. Then she says something shocking. She is the one who killed Minu's family. Minu's face changes with anger and disbelief. Orwell suddenly attacks her. Minu tries to escape and a fierce battle starts between them. Minu sees that Orwell has steel claws on her hand. This reveals why the old woman always seems strange and suspicious. Minu throws her magic book at her. A large glass structure breaks. Akari rushes over, calling Minu's name with concern. Meanwhile, Momo and Ashuna are attacked by a powerful enemy master. They prepare themselves for a difficult battle. Back at the temple, Minu lies on the floor surrounded by dead bodies. One of them is Flare, her master. She stares in horror. Orwell stands tall in front of her, smiling cruelly. Minu gathers her strength and prepares to fight again. Akari continues calling out to her. Suddenly, some unknown people appear behind Akari and tell her to come with them. Orwell mocks Minu and says her master also fell into the same trap. She sets up a powerful magical barrier and laughs maniacally. She asks if Minu will still help her now and threatens to destroy her too. Her laughter echoes through the temple as she declares that Minu's end is near. Minu asks what Orwell plans to do with Akari. Meanwhile, Akari is tortured by those mysterious strangers. One of them slaps her, and they begin casting dark spells on her. She screams in pain. Back at the temple, Orwell says it's time for the real fight to begin. Since she is old and cannot fight physically, she summons a giant magical robot to battle Minu. Minu stands firm and says she will not run away. She promises to defeat her. The intense fight begins. Orwell watches with excitement and says things are finally getting interesting. Minu puts all her strength into the battle. She remembers her master's advice, that not every lost one is worth saving. With that memory, she pushes herself even harder. Orwell seems thrilled by the chaos. Meanwhile, Ashuna asks Momo how to defeat the master enemy they're fighting. Momo admits she has no idea. The two continue struggling as their enemy keeps regenerating, making things worse. The scene then shifts to Akari, sitting quietly in a small room. deep in thought. Her expression is calm, but her eyes show sadness. She quietly remembers every moment she has spent with Manu, every laugh, every journey, and every kind gesture. These memories play through her mind like scenes from a distant dream. As she remembers Manu's smile, a strange aura begins to appear around her body. The magical energy glows softly at first, but it quickly grows stronger. People nearby feel the sudden shift in the air and step back in fear and confusion. They don't know what is happening. Akari slowly regains consciousness and opens her eyes. She looks down and sees her hairband, with the ribbon that Manu gave her. A soft smile forms on her lips as she holds it gently in her hands. That ribbon is very special to her. It brings her peace and reminds her of Manu's kindness and friendship. A woman standing nearby scolds her. She asks if Akari could not have waited a little longer before taking action. Their mission was nearly complete. But Akari doesn't respond with anger. Instead, she smiles warmly and uses a soft, magic spell on the woman and others in the room. Her tone is calm as she explains that the ribbon came from Manu. It holds deep meaning to her heart. Just then, Akari notices something unusual falling from the sky above. A strange, white object descends slowly. She steps aside to avoid it. The moment feels strange and unreal. Akari looks up, sensing that something important is about to happen. A powerful force stirs inside her. She feels a strong urge to act. Closing her eyes, she casts a special magic spell on herself. This magic awakens a hidden power within her. She knows it's time to break free from the invisible chains that held her down. Elsewhere, Momo's ribbon suddenly glows. It shines with mysterious energy, and she feels a pulse of power flow through her body. She stops, confused by the sensation. Far away, Akari places a hand over her heart and says softly that the time has come to let go. She believes she has played her part. She casts another spell, returning her body and mind to their normal state. She realizes that she hasn't been in full control of her actions for a while now. The thought shakes her. She feels unsure and troubled. Meanwhile, in another part of the capital, Ashuna and Momo are still engaged in a dangerous battle. They fight a powerful monster created through strange magic. The enemy is strong, and the fight becomes more intense with every second. Momo is focused until a terrible thing happens. Her ribbon, the one given to her by Manu, catches fire and burns during the battle. Seeing the ribbon destroyed stuns her. It breaks her focus. The monster takes advantage of this moment and lands a strong blow on her. Momo falls back, wounded. Ashuna quickly runs to her and checks if she's okay. Momo, despite her pain, pushes herself up. Her eyes fill with tears. With trembling hands, she touches the spot where her ribbon used to be. She whispers that it was a precious gift from Manu. Now that it's gone, it feels like she lost something dear. Ashuna watches her carefully. She sees Momo's emotions explode into pure power. Fueled by grief and rage, Momo begins to chant a powerful and risky spell. Her voice trembles, but her will is firm. She says she will destroy everything. The monster, the battlefield, and even herself if needed. Ashuna warns her to calm down and stop, but Momo refuses. She insists she knows what she's doing. She wants to end everything with her own hands. Suddenly, in the royal capital, a giant magical structure rises from the ground. Its glowing presence shocks everyone. Citizens and knights alike stop what they're doing and look at it in fear and awe. The sky turns darker as the magic pulses. Ashuna, instead of being afraid, laughs loudly. She claps and praises Momo's strength. She admits she looks forward to fighting her again in the future. To show her own power, Ashuna casually uses her magic to destroy a nearby house. Then she turns and walks away, calling out that they'll meet again on the battlefield. Meanwhile, Manu continues fighting the old lady, Orwell. Momo breaks through the magical barrier that had been blocking her. Orwell immediately realizes that someone powerful has broken her shield and guesses that it must be Momo. Manu smiles faintly. She knows Momo never gives up, no matter how tough the fight gets. Suddenly, Akari runs in and hugs Manu tightly. She is filled with relief. Manu is surprised and scolds her for coming into such danger. She asks why she took such a risk. They argue like friends who know each other well. Then, Momo arrives at the scene. Manu gently places her hand over Momo's eyes, not wanting her to see what's happening. Orwell prepares for another attack, drawing power from the monster again. But Momo reacts quickly. She casts a spell that causes the monster's magic to backfire. Orwell is shocked. She turns to Manu and Akari and asks what they plan to do now. Manu responds with calm confidence. She creates floating magic bubbles that swirl around Orwell. The bubbles confuse her. Momo adds her own magic to the attack. Together, they destroy the crystal that powers the monster's form. The monster weakens and Orwell's powers drop. Just when Orwell tries to strike again, she freezes in fear. She sees someone familiar, Flare. The powerful figure is holding Akari and standing silently. Orwell feels terror, but as the scene becomes clear, it is revealed that it's not Flare. It's actually Menu, using an illusion. Menu steps forward and launches a magical attack. It lands, but only causes a small cut on Orwell's head. Menu is surprised. She expected more damage. Suddenly, she is pulled into another world. In this strange space, Menu sees herself walking away from a bloody scene. Her hands are covered in red. Behind her, her master Flare appears and says she is leaving. Menu then finds herself sitting in an empty classroom. Everything feels strange. She starts to wonder if she belongs in this world at all. But just as she begins to give up, Akari appears. She tells Menu she has done nothing wrong. Her voice is gentle and kind. She encourages Menu not to give in to despair. Then Akari steps forward and pours all her magical energy into Menu's body. She faints afterward. Filled with new strength, Menu rises. She channels Akari's power and launches one final powerful attack. The spell hits Orwell and ends the battle. The old lady falls, defeated. Menu walks over to Akari, helps her sit, and looks at the fallen Orwell. As Orwell lies dying, she shows her true form. Weak, broken, and no longer proud. She looks up at Menu and thanks her quietly. She admits that she finally understands how wrong she was. With those final words, she closes her eyes and fades away. Later, Momo is shown lying on the ground, exhausted from the battle. Ashuna appears again. She smiles and praises Momo for fighting so well. She promises that once Momo recovers, they'll have a real fight, as rivals, not enemies. The next morning, Akari is seen sleeping peacefully. Around her, people start rebuilding the city. The damage from the magical attacks is massive, but life continues. Momo visits Menu and apologizes for losing the ribbon. She says she failed to protect it. Menu gently smiles and ties a new ribbon on Momo's head. She says it looks cute. Momo becomes emotional and hugs Menu tightly, thanking her with tears in her eyes. As they talk, Menu mentions that she has been dreaming about a school in Japan. She wonders if it's more than just a dream. Maybe it's connected to something real. She wants to uncover the truth behind it. Later in the evening, Akari wakes up suddenly, scared. She searches for Menu and finally finds her. She hugs her tightly and says she had a terrible dream, one where Menu is dying. She begs her not to go, saying she doesn't want to be left behind. Menu whispers goodbye and takes her final breath. Akari begins to cry. Just then, Flare appears and tells Akari she will send her to Menu. Flare raises her hand and launches a powerful magical attack. The next morning begins quietly. Akari stands near a cracked stone wall, carefully reading a posted notice. She seems curious, but calm. Just then, Menu walks over and sees her. She softly asks what Akari is doing there. Akari looks up and replies that she is just reading the notice for no specific reason. Menu nods, then points out that the path near the wall is damaged. She suggests they move to a safer area. Akari's face lights up with excitement. She loves walking through new places. She asks Menu where they are going. Menu calmly tells her that they are heading toward the sea on the opposite side. The scene briefly shifts. Near the seaside, a little girl sits quietly while a girl walks in the water. The wind blows gently as the waves crash in the background. Then the scene returns to Menu and Akari, who now begin their journey. Akari runs ahead with excitement, her energy bursting out, but after only a short while she starts panting and slows down. Menu teases her with a small smile, saying she got tired very quickly. Akari groans, but Menu just calls her weak in a teasing tone. They continue walking along the open trail. Akari asks how much longer it will take. Menu replies that they are almost there. Soon they reach a peaceful, wide area filled with sunlight and gentle breezes. The scenery is breathtaking. Akari is amazed by the beauty of the place and smiles brightly. Menu lies down on the grass, deciding to take a short rest. At this point, a quiet flashback begins. Menu remembers the time when Flare first brought her here. In that memory, she looks up into the sky and notices something unusual. She points it out and asks Flare about it. Flare explains that it is a mysterious magic circle in the sky. According to her, anyone who enters it never comes back. The sky glows faintly with a strange pattern as the flashback ends. Back in the present, Akari also notices the same strange, cloud-like circle in the sky. She points to it and asks what it is. Menu calmly explains that it is a dangerous type of magic circle. She warns Akari to stay away from it. The scene then shifts to another place and we see Menu talking with a woman nearby, who quietly walks away after their short conversation and returns back to Akari. Akari then asks Menu if her work is done. Menu nods in reply. Akari becomes cheerful again and suggests that they explore more of the area as she points toward a castle. Manu asks if she's really serious about going into the area. From a distance, the mysterious girl from earlier watches them quietly, her expression unreadable. Later, Manu and Akari relax and bathe together in a quiet place. Akari looks thoughtful and asks how long Manu plans to stay here. Manu answers that she will be leaving soon. Akari does not look happy with that answer. Next, Manu is seen alone in a room. She says that Akari is not present and tells someone it is okay to come in. Momo enters the scene and quickly hugs Manu. Manu gently asks how her mission went. Momo casually replies that she threw a Shuna toward the monster in the south. Manu becomes a little shocked and tells her that she probably should not have done that. Momo defends herself, saying the person wasn't weak. Manu pauses, then agrees that she might be right. Momo leans in closer and shares some secret information with her. Manu listens carefully and praises her for her efforts. Momo then requests a head pat as a reward. Manu smiles gently and pats her head. Momo becomes very happy and closes her eyes like a pleased child. Suddenly, they hear the sound of someone outside. Manu's face turns serious. She tells Momo to leave immediately because someone is coming. Momo nods and runs off after saying a few more words. Just then, Akari returns. She says she thought she heard something. Manu calmly tells her it was probably just her imagination. Manu helps Akari dry her hair. While she does, Akari slowly begins to fall asleep. The next morning, the two of them go out to explore a new place. Akari seems excited again. As they walk, Akari again notices an old, abandoned castle in the distance. She points at it and asks about it. Manu asks if she wants to go there. Akari quickly says yes. They start heading toward the castle. As they walk, Manu begins to wonder if this is the right moment to finish her mission. Akari notices her quietness and asks where they are really going. Manu replies that she only promised to walk nearby, not to go inside the castle. Inside the castle, the same mysterious girl appears again. Her name is Manon. She is with a group of people. She tells them it's time to eat. However, nobody responds to her. She becomes frustrated and annoyed, then walks out of the room in anger, saying that they can enjoy the meal without her. Suddenly, outside the castle, Manu pushes Akari forward into a magic circle. Akari lands inside the strange magic circle. As she walks closer, she sees a terrifying scene filled with blood. A powerful master stands before her, ready to strike. Akari freezes, confused and unable to understand what is going on. Manu quietly thinks to herself that Akari can reverse time and bring herself back to life. But she also senses that something else, something unknown, may be hidden inside Akari. As expected, Akari dies, but then revives. Manu tells her it's time to go back now. Akari looks disappointed and says they had just started exploring, but Manu doesn't respond and starts driving away. Akari asks again about the castle. Manu repeats her warning, calling it a cursed or haunted place. Akari listens quietly and says nothing. Then the story briefly returns to the seaside girl. In a disturbing moment, the girl kills a little girl. As Manu and Akari head back to their residence, the evening feels calm. On the way, Manu shares a small memory from her childhood. She remembers visiting the ocean when she was just a little girl. The sound of waves and the salty air made her feel peaceful back then. Akari listens with interest and wants to hear more stories from Manu's past, but Manu hesitates. Her thoughts go back to the time she first met her master, Flare, the woman known as the killer of Isekai. The memory is intense and emotional, but Manu keeps it hidden. She doesn't say anything about Flare to Akari. Far away, a mysterious man watches both of them silently. He hides in the shadows, observing them closely without making a move. Later, Manu and Akari walk through a lively marketplace. It's full of color, sound, and cheerful people. Akari looks around with wide eyes. Everything feels new and exciting to her. Manu walks a little ahead but then stops to look for Akari. She notices a watermelon sitting on a fruit stall. She buys it and gives it to Akari. Akari's face lights up with happiness. She says she loves watermelons as big as her chest. Manu asks if she has ever eaten one before, but Akari doesn't answer clearly. Just then, Manu notices something strange. She senses that someone is following them. She stays calm and keeps walking, pretending not to notice. Suddenly, an attacker jumps out and tries to hit her, but he doesn't know how skilled Manu really is. She quickly warns the people nearby to stay calm and lie down. Another attacker suddenly grabs Akari and holds a weapon to her neck. He threatens Manu, telling her not to move, but Manu stays calm. In a flash, she defeats both attackers with quick and powerful moves. Her control and skill leave no doubt. She's a trained executioner. Soon, two royal knights arrive and arrest the attackers. From the shadows, Manon watches everything quietly. She uses her hidden magic and casts a spell. Her spell turns the captured attackers into wild, wolf-like monsters. Minu and Akari return to their lodging, thinking the danger is over. But soon, they hear loud screams coming from outside. Minu quickly rushes back to the marketplace. There, she sees two monstrous wolves attacking people and causing chaos. After fighting them off, Minu meets with a higher-ranking woman. She reports everything she knows. The woman listens carefully and tells Minu that she will make a decision based on this new information. Before Minu leaves, the woman hands her an envelope. She hints that a new mission is about to begin. Later that day, Minu meets with Momo and tells her everything that happened. She explains the attack, the monsters, and the mysterious connection to Manon. She asks Momo for help in investigating deeper into this strange incident. Momo agrees. The next morning, Minu wakes up in bed. She feels something strange beside her. She lifts the blanket and finds Akari eating between her legs. Minu stares in shock. She quickly gets up, confused and a little flustered. Akari opens her eyes and casually asks why Minu looks so surprised. She smiles and says they're friends, so there's no harm in sharing a bed. Minu gets annoyed and hits her lightly with a pillow. Akari rolls around on the bed playfully, laughing. Minu shakes her head and says that Akari can't even stay quiet for a minute. Then, her eyes fall on the envelope given to her the day before. She remembers the upcoming mission and begins to think seriously again. Somewhere else, inside a dark, eerie-looking palace, Manon sits confidently in a large hall. She is now the leader of a strange and secretive organization. The room is full of her followers. But today, they don't look happy. They're angry about something. One of the members speaks up. She talks about a little girl who recently died. She accuses Manon of being responsible. The others agree. One of them says that Manon has gone too far this time. But Manon looks calm and unaffected. She tells them not to be emotional. She says they are failing to understand the bigger picture of her plan. However, one woman in the group becomes furious. She yells at Manon, refusing to accept her excuses. Suddenly, Manon's expression changes. Her calm face turns cold and deadly. In a flash, she casts a deadly spell. Before anyone can react, she kills the woman who shouted at her. Her lifeless body falls to the ground. Everyone else freezes in shock and fear. Now they all realize how dangerous Manon really is. She looks at them and says that if they understand her point, they should remain quiet and follow orders. No one dares to speak. The scene briefly shows what really happened to the little girl. After her death, a strange crystal rises from her body. This crystal is dark and unnatural, created by Manon's twisted magic that she has been using to transform humans into monsters. Meanwhile, Momo is seen in the middle of a mission. She is fighting a group of men. With ease, she defeats them all and smiles after completing the task. Suddenly, Ashuna, the princess, appears behind her. She calls out to Momo. Momo turns around, surprised. But before they can talk, Ashuna attacks her playfully. The two start bickering like old rivals and then walk together to a nearby cafe. At the cafe, Momo becomes serious. She says that their next mission is going to be even more dangerous. Two people were suddenly transformed into monsters. This kind of thing has never happened before. Momo begins to tell a strange story. A long time ago, there was a princess who had terrifying power. When she got angry, she could turn people into monsters. Momo thinks this story might be connected to current events. Meanwhile, Ashuna's guards are seen partying and laughing nearby. Momo looks at them and makes fun of their carefree attitude. She says she doesn't care about their bodyguards or their fancy clothes. Ashuna laughs and tells Momo she's always been weird. Then she becomes serious and says she has something important. She hands Momo an invitation card. Momo looks surprised and asks if it's a wedding invitation. Ashuna laughs and says it's not her wedding, it's for someone else. Ashuna tells Momo to give the invitation to Minu and bring Akari too. Momo asks if she can come as well. Ashuna says she wasn't officially invited, but she can still show up if she wants. Momo gets irritated. The two start arguing again, but soon turn it into a food eating contest. After eating a lot, Momo still loses and Ashuna wins. Later, Momo meets Minu and explains everything. She tells her about the invitation and says that Minu, Akari, and herself are expected at the party, but Momo says she doesn't want to attend. She prefers to stay hidden and keep an eye on things from a distance. Before leaving, Momo looks at Minu's plain clothes and gets annoyed. She says Minu can't attend a fancy party dressed like that. She hands her a beautiful dress. Minu gets shy and refuses at first, but finally agrees. As Momo walks away, she reminds Minu to bring Akari too. That night, Minu lies in bed, thinking. She wonders if bringing Akari along is really a good idea. Later, the party begins. Momo hides near the entrance, keeping watch. She scans the guests and waits for Minu to arrive. Soon, Minu walks in, wearing the dress Momo gave her. Momo watches from a distance and smiles. She thinks Manu looks hot. Suddenly, Akari shows up too, wearing Manu's usual outfit. She tries to copy Manu's way of walking and acting. She even strikes a funny pose, trying to look graceful. Together, Akari and Manu walk toward the entrance of the Grand Hall. Momo watches in frustration. She can't believe Akari is wearing Manu's outfit. She didn't expect her to take things this far. Inside, the party begins. Manon steps onto the stage and gives a speech. Her voice echoes through the large room. From the stage, she looks directly at Manu. Manu stares back. At that moment, Manu begins to suspect something. She thinks about the monsters, the attacks, the invitation, and the strange atmosphere. All the clues seem to point to one thing. Manon is behind it all. Inside the Great Hall, the party continues. Akari walks up confidently in front of a group of guests and loudly announces that she is a member of a special space force. She poses dramatically and speaks in an exaggerated tone, making a scene. Everyone around her stares, confused and awkward. Manu watches from a distance, visibly embarrassed. She regrets bringing Akari to the party. She thinks it would have been better if she had come alone instead of dragging Akari along. Akari continues to joke and draw attention to herself, and soon Manu appears. She approaches her and sternly asks what she is doing. She tells her not to act like this. Akari laughs it off, while Manu stays frustrated. Meanwhile, Momo is shown walking toward a large mansion. As she gets close, a guard tries to stop her from entering. Without hesitation, Momo defeats the guard easily and warns him not to mess with her or Manu again. She enters the building with a serious look on her face. Back at the party, Manu starts walking through a hallway, looking for Momo. She wonders where Momo has gone and what she might be doing. Suddenly, Princess Ashuna appears in front of her and asks who she is. Princess Ashuna questions why Manu was trying to enter the mansion. She adds that no one can walk in so casually, at least not without fighting her first. As she draws her sword, Manu quickly covers her face and prepares to defend herself. The two get into a standoff, ready to fight. The scene switches back to Momo, who is exploring inside the building. She beats up a guy and finds a useless weapon but throws it away. Just then, a girl picks up the weapon and warns Momo to leave or else she'll shoot. However, her hands tremble and it's clear she's scared. And she looks at the scary face of Momo, her confidence disappears, and she freezes in fear. Momo walks past her as the scene cuts back. Manu and Ashuna now clash in battle. Ashuna praises Manu's skill but insists that Manu can't defeat her. She attacks with full force, but Manu surprises her by redirecting her own attack back toward her. Manu stands strong, making Ashuna realize she's more powerful than expected. Ashuna asks who she really is. Manu tells her to focus on the fight instead of asking questions. Meanwhile, Akari walks outside to get some air and looks up at the sky, completely unaware of the chaos happening elsewhere. The battle between Manu and Ashuna continues. Manu tries to reason with Ashuna, telling her that she has no reason to fight. She suggests that Ashuna walk away, but Ashuna doesn't listen and keeps attacking. Manu finally says that if that's what Ashuna wants, then she'll respond accordingly. The battle escalates and Manu lands a powerful blow that shocks Ashuna. As the dust settles, something strange happens. A mysterious energy seems to leave Ashuna's head. She stands in silence, visibly shaken. She realizes that Manu has vanished. Looking around, she finds only a coin on the ground. She picks it up and remembers something Momo once told her about bubbles and coins. She now understands. Manu is even stronger than Momo had said. Elsewhere, Akari ends up in another world. There, she meets Manon. Manon tells her to come with her and says they are alike. Suddenly, it feels like someone else takes over Akari's body. She starts behaving strangely, as if she no longer has control over her own actions. She wonders if she's even herself anymore. Akari begins talking to herself, trying to understand what's happening. People nearby notice her bizarre behavior and whisper to each other. They think she might have gone crazy. Akari ignores them and decides to find Momo no matter what. Meanwhile, Momo is seen examining a folder and analyzing its contents. She realizes that something dark and serious is going on. Determined to find out the truth, she begins her investigation. Momo arrives at a location where Manon had previously taken the life of a small child. There, she discovers a case and tries to open it. Inside, she finds the same little girl, surprisingly still alive, but is severely injured and in danger. Momo tries to help her, but suddenly the place begins to explode. She jumps back to avoid the blast, but not without getting injured. Despite the pain, she manages to protect herself and tries to leave. She plans to share all the important information with Manu, but loses consciousness before she can. The scene shifts to Manu, who is now asking some locals about Akari's whereabouts. They call Akari a crazy girl and say they have no idea where she went. Just then, Manu receives a message from Momo. Elsewhere, Manon sits alone, looking at a photograph. She stares at it and smiles faintly, hiding something behind her expression. Meanwhile, Momo lies unconscious in a hospital bed. When she opens her eyes, Manu is there beside her. Momo feels relieved and apologizes for not completing her mission. Manu tells her not to worry. She says that Momo's safety is what matters most. Manu's expression turns serious. She thinks about the person responsible for hurting Momo and promises to make them pay. She then meets with the woman who gave her the task and shares all the details of her findings. She then asks her to close off the castle, as she believes the people living in castle are responsible for producing monsters. She plans to invade the castle, capture Manon and others, and lastly, save Akari. So she requests the woman to send an order of knights there. The woman agrees to do AO. Soon, a group of soldiers is seen gathering in front of a grand castle. The people inside the castle look nervous, wondering what they should do next. Manon watches them from a distance. Then she looks at the photograph of her family and wonders who touched this. After that, she walks into the hallway, but she gets stunned to find the people gathered there have turned into statues. Now Manon understands everything. She begins to talk to someone standing behind a wall, and surprisingly, it is Akari. Akari looks at an old family photograph of Manon. She then asks Manon why she brought her to this place. Before she can reply, the scene cuts away and shows Manu walking alone, heading toward with a serious expression. She thinks to herself that Akari should not have gone there. Back at the earlier scene, Manon speaks while looking outside. She says she will explain why she brought Akari here. She then shows him a man and says this is her father. She tells him her father has been turned into a statue and begins narrating her past. She describes how her mother once collapsed from exhaustion. Just in time, her father caught her and saved her. That was when the two of them fell in love. Soon after, Manon was born. But one day, her father left them both. She doesn't share more details, stopping mid-sentence. At that moment, Akari interrupts her, saying he doesn't want to hear such a story. But Manon ignores her and continues her narration. She talks about a moment when she and her mother sat together and shared peaceful conversations. Suddenly, Flare, an executioner, appeared, attacked and killed her mother, shocking Manon. She couldn't understand what was happening, and soon after her mother's body exploded in front of her eyes. Manon continues, saying she didn't realize her mother had done something wrong. Akari asks what happened afterward. Manon begins to share more. She points at several stone statues nearby and says all of them used to be real people. These were the same people who laughed at her and mocked her. They made fun of her and bullied her. She believes that they are the main reason for turning her into a taboo. Now she vows to erase all of them and everything that hurt her. Then she steps forward and begins to perform a ritual. Suddenly, a black shadow appears, and at the same moment, all the surrounding statues begin to tremble. Dark and powerful shadows surround them, destroying each of the stone figures. Now Manon declares that she will finish Akari for good. She charges to attack her. But just then, Manu appears from behind and saves Akari in time. Akari runs away, apologizing to Manu. Manu tells her not to do such things again. She sends Akari away and steps forward to confront her enemy. Manu prepares to stop the threat. Manon steps in her way, blocking her. She asks Manu if she is ready to fight. Manon observes her fighting stance and says it reminds her of someone else. She asks if Manu was a student of Flare. Manu says nothing, but Manon already knows the answer. She declares she will defeat Manu and starts laughing. Then, a flashback appears. Manon asks Flare to kill her too. Flare explains to her that her mother was a lost one, a being with great destructive power, that is why she had to kill her. But as for Manon, she believes Manon is not a taboo and doesn't have any powers. Manon is terrified. On that day, she promises herself that one day she will become a taboo to avenge her mother. Back in the present, Manu prepares to attack Momo. Suddenly, the scene shifts to show Princess Ashuna. A knight rushes to her and says a huge crisis has come and she must follow him quickly. The scene cuts back to Manu, who continues her fierce fight with Momo. Akari is seen running as she looks back and sees a large castle collapsing behind her. In a desperate moment, Manu strikes Manon hard in the side, stabbing her with a sharp blade. She cuts her arm and then lifts her by the shoulder. Manu declares her victory, but Manon smiles and says this is only the beginning. Manu becomes cautious and asks what she means. Manon replies that Manu will understand soon enough, but for now, she should enjoy this moment. Then Manon laughs loudly, confusing Manu even more. Manon begins chanting a spell. Manu reacts quickly and throws her far away. A strange energy comes from Momo's hand, and something monstrous emerges from her side. To everyone's surprise, a little girl, the same one who was previously killed, reappears. The little girl jumps around playfully. She says that she is happy she can play again. Manu quickly tries to destroy the child, but nothing happens to her. The girl regenerates, using her wounds to create another clone of herself. Minu is shocked. She wonders how she can possibly fight this. The girl laughs and says Minu should come play with her. Minu gets stunned as the little girl begins to twist her neck, ultimately detaching it from her body. Many monstrous figures begin to appear out of her body and begin to devour her. But after a while, the little girl comes out of one of the monsters' mouths calling herself a pandemonium. Several monsters stand behind her. Minu looks at them and feels confused. Without wasting time, she starts using her magic spell. Suddenly, Minu knocks the girl down. The girl becomes angry and asks why she was pushed. Just then, another duplicate of the girl appears, shocking Minu. She cannot believe what she sees. The second girl walks toward the first one and twists her neck, ending her. Minu is speechless. The girl simply says that this is what Minu wanted, to finish her, but Minu is now frozen, completely in shock. The scene shifts to Momo, who lies injured. Her condition is very bad. Suddenly, Akari arrives and watches her with concern. She gently touches her and says that she will be fine. After checking on Momo, Akari leaves and looks around to assess the situation. Meanwhile, Minu faces the small girl once again. She realizes that this girl has already died before. If she already died once, then she cannot be killed again. The girl then asks Minu what she is thinking. Minu stays silent. The girl smiles and asks if she wants to kill her, saying that it would be fun. Then she declares that the real game is about to begin. Elsewhere, Princess Ashuna returns to the palace. One knight asks why she came back so early. Another knight informs her that everything is under control now and they can leave. Inside the castle, the scene cuts back to Minu. Some monsters now attack her directly. Minu defends herself and stops them one by one using her magic. The small girl watches and laughs, saying Minu might have defeated the monsters, but she cannot escape from her. The girl then breaks her own hand and a group of mice come out. These mice suddenly transform into more masters and attack Minu. Despite being tired, Minu defends herself again. She uses her magic to trap all the transformed masters inside a bottle. She is exhausted now. The small girl stretches her arm and attacks Minu, making her fall. Just as she is about to attack again, Ashuna appears and saves Minu. Ashuna helps Minu get back up and asks if she is okay. Minu asks why she came, explaining that this small girl cannot be defeated. Ashuna says that they must keep fighting because only then will they know the truth. The scene focuses on the small girl again. Both her hands are missing now. Ashuna then activates her magic power. Minu also joins in, and both their powers combine to create a large portal in the sky. They attempt to trap the small girl inside this glowing portal. Ashuna says that this might finally be the end. The girl looks surprised, but also excited. Minu and Ashuna push the girl into the portal, hoping this seals her away for good. Minu breathes a sigh of relief and says it's finally over, but warns that they should still stay alert. Ashuna asks why. Minu explains that even after she defeated the girl once before, she returned again. Suddenly, an explosion takes place. One of the monsters reappears in the destroyed area. From afar, Akari watches everything unfold. Meanwhile, the same small girl appears near Akari. The scene shifts back to Minu and Ashuna. Ashuna supports Minu, but they are now on high alert. They look at the destruction caused and realize that a monster is now standing there. Again, the small girl appears beside Akari and says that it's time to play. Minu stares in that direction. Another version of the small girl walks toward Akari and laughs. She says they should play a game. Akari is shocked to see her melting her own hand like slime. Akari attacks the girl with a magic spell, thinking that will be enough, but the girl suddenly appears behind Akari and stabs her from behind. Akari manages to break free just in time. The girl's hand reconnects like nothing happened. She laughs and says she is not easy to destroy. Akari becomes frightened. The girl whispers that now they are playing hide and seek. Akari watches nervously while the girl mocks her, saying she is thinking about Minu. She then starts insulting Minu and laughs loudly. Akari does not like hearing these things and prepares to fight back. Meanwhile, Ashuna and Minu face a master again. The girl watches them and smiles, saying she is enjoying watching them struggle. Ashuna turns to Minu and asks if she has any idea how to defeat the girl. Minu shakes her head and says no. Now, back with Akari, the second girl keeps talking about Minu, describing her past and making rude comments. Akari becomes angry and casts another spell on the girl. As she attacks, she suddenly feels like she has met this girl before. After defeating her temporarily, Akari thinks it's finally over. But then, the girl stands in front of her again. Akari is stunned. She asks how the girl returned. The small girl whispers that Minu is just like those who destroyed her mother. She says Minu will do the same thing soon. Minu continues to fight the girl, who now transforms into a monster. Minu and Ashuna are confused by the transformation. The monster-like figure laughs hysterically and says it's time to play for real. Despite the chaos, Manu keeps attacking the strange creature floating above the city. Her magic book starts to glow brightly. Suddenly, Ashuna steps forward and attacks the creature. The monster becomes happy instead of hurt. It smiles, amused by the strike. Meanwhile, it is revealed that the creature had split itself into many small pieces. These pieces now fall from the sky and begin attacking the citizens of the city. Ashuna sees what is happening and shouts that she will protect the people while Menu handles the creature. She rushes to save the civilians while Menu stares at the monster with intense focus. The two lock eyes, preparing for another confrontation. Meanwhile, Manu begins using all her strength and magical power to fight the monster, but the monster overpowers her and catches her off guard. It knocks her back and burns her body badly. Manu's condition becomes worse, and she can barely move. The monster doesn't stop there. It burns Manu's magical book and takes it for itself. Helpless and injured, Manu runs away and hides behind a wall, trying to stay out of sight. But the monster easily tracks her down. It attacks her again, pushing her closer to the edge of defeat. Just in time, Ashuna appears and rescues Manu. She throws a sword in front of Manu and tells her to use it. Manu grabs the weapon, but before she can fight, another monster approaches Ashuna from behind. Ashuna fights back using her bare hands, trying to hold the enemy off. Manu, now holding the sword, stands up. She channels her remaining power and strikes the monster. However, her attack does not work. The monster receives the blow but is completely unharmed. It laughs again. Meanwhile, Akari is shown fighting off monsters in a different part of the city. She is tired and breathing heavily. She says she is on her way and asks Manu to hold on. Back at the battlefield, Manu continues to struggle against the monster. She is exhausted and completely drained of energy. The monster prepares to deliver the final blow to Manu, but suddenly everything freezes for a second. Akari has arrived. She looks at the monster and then she turns to Manu and asks if she is okay. Manu is surprised to see Akari. She asks why Akari came here. The monster notices Akari and quickly moves to attack her, but Manu pulls Akari away and hides her. Akari says she became worried and that's why she came to help. The two look into each other's eyes. In that quiet moment, they both promise that no matter what happens, they will always stay together. Suddenly, the monster finds them again and says that it has located them. The monster starts charging up an attack, but Manu and Akari dodge it just in time. Then they hold hands and combine their magical powers. Together, they create a powerful blast and aim it at the monster. The attack strikes with full force. The monster screams as it becomes severely injured. Its body becomes unstable. Akari falls unconscious due to exhaustion. Manu gently lays her down on the ground to rest. Just then, the injured monster begins to speak. Its body is half destroyed, but it is still alive. The monster reveals some shocking truths about the world. It explains how things really work, telling Manu things no one has told her before. Manu listens closely, shocked by what she learns. The truth leaves her speechless. After sharing the truth, the monster completely crumbles and disappears. Manu quietly says goodbye and hopes the monster finds peace in its own world. Suddenly, Ashuna appears. She walks up to Manu and says that everything is over now. She then says he is leaving. Manu watches her silently and asks what she plans to do next, but Ashuna does not answer and just says goodbye. The scene shifts to a different world. Manon wakes up in a strange place. In front of her stands the little girl, who welcomes her to this new world. Manon is confused at first, but then realizes they are no longer in their original world. She accepts the truth, that they have both died and arrived in a new reality. The little girl has utilized the dead bodies of other Outworlders buried in this world to bring Manon back to life. Manon begins to wonder why the girl is doing so much for her. Just then she remembers something her mother once said. She told her about her big sister and it makes her happy. Then the little girl says they will create a new adventure in this world. Both of them laugh joyfully. Their smiles show a new beginning. Back in the original world, Manu and Momo talk to each other. Momo apologizes for not being able to do anything earlier. She says she was unconscious during most of the fight. Manu comforts her and says it's okay. She reminds Momo that she wasn't in any condition to help either. They continue talking and soon walk over to a dock near the sea. They look at the sky. Manu says she still remembers everything, like a dream filled with flowers. Momo silently watches her and smiles. Finally, Manu returns to her home. The moment she steps inside, Akira runs toward her and hugs her tightly. They sit together and start talking about everything that happened. During their conversation, Akira apologizes to Manu for causing so much trouble, and Manu tries to calm her. Manu remembers how she has been feeling for a long time, that they were once good friends in Japan before coming to this world. Meanwhile, Momo quietly misses Manu. She smiles and reflects on the journey they've all gone through. The next day, we see Akira and Manu starting their new journey together. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to smash the like and subscribe buttons. Hit the bell icon to stay tuned in for the next. Until next time, stay thirsty, my fellows.